Let's start with Neil Young. The Canadian-American's been making music for nigh on 60 years now and is justifiably regarded as a rock and folk legend. He's written and recorded dozens of beautiful and moving songs over the years, but he's probably best known for Heart of Gold.
I wanna live, I wanna give. I've been a miner for a heart of gold.
Remarkably, this 1971 release is Young's only #1. Although Rockin' in the Free World, released nearly 20 years later, would reach #2 in the charts. The other thing you need to know about Neil Young is that he was, for a while, the fourth member of folk rock supergroup Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. And he's considered one of the greatest guitarists of all time. Rolling Stone put him at #17, a bit high, but ahead of Carlos Santana, James Burton and even Les Paul. Now let's switch to Joe Rogan. He's been a stand-up comedian.
Look, I got it on tape. We can make copies. $10, $15 a pop for these. What? I got blank tapes in my van. We'll bang it out over lunch.
UFC commentator. And in 2009, he found his real calling with podcasts.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Interviewing everyone from Mike Tyson to the eminent psychologist Jordan Peterson. And over the past decade, he's built up a vast following. That's what attracted Spotify, which in 2020 reportedly signed him in an exclusive deal worth over $100 million. And in return, he pulls in about 11 million listeners per episode. It's a sweet deal for Rogan, but in stark contrast, Neil Young's been fed up with Spotify for a very long time. He pulled most of his music off the platform several years ago, complaining the sound quality on the service was too low. He then put his songs back on Spotify because it was just too popular to ignore. Then, on Monday last week, he pulled the plug once and for all. In an open letter to his management team, published on his website, Young wrote, "I am doing this because Spotify is spreading false information about vaccines. They can have Rogan or Young, not both." Spotify went Rogan and quickly started taking down the music of Neil Young. Now, Young must have known it was a gamble, but said he had to do something after reading about how 200+ doctors had written their own open letter to Spotify, warning the platform about Joe Rogan. Not all of the authors were doctors, though. Some were dentists, physiotherapists, and even a vet. And they wrote that throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, Joe Rogan has repeatedly spread misleading and false claims on his podcast, provoking distrust in science and medicine. Their biggest complaint was that he'd interviewed Dr. Robert Malone, who they'd accused of promoting baseless conspiracy theories. The letter says that Malone was unfit to be a guest because he was suspended from Twitter for spreading misinformation about COVID-19 and for comparing pandemic policies to the Holocaust.
We're going to tell you how to think, okay? People kind of got to get that in their head. That's the world we're in right now.
In Rogan's first response to Young and the doctors, he defended his right to interview Dr. Malone.
Dr. Robert Malone owns 9 patents on the creation of mRNA vaccine technology and is at least partially responsible for the creation of the technology that led to mRNA vaccines. Both these people are very highly credentialed, very intelligent, very accomplished people, and they have an opinion that's different from the mainstream narrative. I wanted to hear what their opinion is.
Now, Rogan will continue to interview controversial voices, but that's not to say that Neil Young has failed to change anything. For example, Spotify has agreed to add a content advisory to any podcast episode that includes a discussion about COVID-19. This advisory will direct listeners to their dedicated COVID-19 hub, a resource that provides easy access to data-driven facts, up-to-date information, as shared by scientists, physicians, academics, and public health authorities around the world, as well as links to trusted sources. This new effort to combat misinformation will roll out to countries around the world in the coming days, they say. And as for Joe Rogan, well, he's promised to make some changes too.
I think if there's anything that I've done that I could do better is have more experts with differing opinions right after I have the controversial ones. I would most certainly be open to doing that. And I would like to talk to some people that have differing opinions on those podcasts in the future. We'll see. I'm not mad at Neil Young. I'm a huge Neil Young fan. I've always been a Neil Young fan. Keep on rocking in a free world.
Well, thanks for watching our program. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family, and even subscribe.